This is your muscle workout that you're going to be doing 3 times per week, either on the same day as you do your assisted work. And definitely they're going to be overlapped with your fascial workouts. But as you're going to see, this routine is slightly easier in terms of the number of exercises. We have less exercises that we're doing, but the focus is going to be more on recruiting your muscle with the fascia or the wetsuit out of the equation. There are a couple movements that you're going to feel some of the fascia stretching, but we're going to be looking for the most intense burn or pre-activation possible, and then just 1 or 2 eccentric reps. Again, the point being with these exercises to recruit as much of the joint and muscle as possible throughout your full available range. We're going to progress from glutes. I'm going to show you 4 positions in a progression so that we can really activate your glute muscles. And then we're going to do your quad and hip flexor, again, in a series or a progression so that we maximize that muscle activation. And then we're going to finish off with the hamstring, showing you a couple different variations, one that you'll see in the mitigation program that we teach you, but also one that you're going to be able to do on the floor or when you're doing your muscle workout. Let's go ahead and get started. Remember, the format is follow the leader, so I'm going to be demonstrating both sides. All you have to do is follow right along. So this positioning mirrors what you'll be doing with the assisted exercise, but to start, let's have everyone lay on your left side, fetal position with your hips at 90 degrees and your knees at 90 degrees. So flex the top foot, that integrates the knee, make sure the knee's stable, and take your right hand, put it on the outside of your right knee, and then pretend like that arm was welded to your torso. Now to leverage the movement, just to show you at first, you're going to be doing pure hip horizontal abduction, which means you're going to lift the leg straight out to the side. To generate resistance, you want to make your arm feel like it was welded to your body. So I'm not doing this by trying to muscle it with my arm strength. Instead, my arm is like attached to my torso, and then when I lift, all I have to do is think about keeping my body weight rotated forward, and I'm lifting up against all of my body weight. Notice how as I lift out to the side, my torso pivots a little bit. That's okay. So let's repeat this movement. I'm going to do a few extra so you guys can get in position. You'll be surprised though, after 3 or 4 repetitions, you should feel the outside of your right hip starting to burn. That's what we're looking for, that pre-activation of the muscle. Let's do 1 extra just to make sure it's really fired up. Now pause at the top, and then you're going to pour your body weight through your arm. So I'm going to rotate my torso forward and keep resisting out to the side as you overpower that resistance, forcing that eccentric stretch into the outer hip. When you get to the bottom, don't relax, lift back out. 2 more. We're going to do 3 eccentric reps on this first one. So I'm still resisting up and out to the side. I'm using my body weight to overpower the resistance. I've got my left arm working as a pillow if I need it to support my neck. And let's do just 1 more. So resist as hard as you can up and out to the side. You should start to sweat. And on this one, part way down, just start to straighten the knee and feel how that changes where the stretch goes. Should come up much higher into the hip. So now, second position, I'm going to have you straighten your hips down. So make your body as straight as an arrow. Take your fingertips and put them on your thigh like your fingers are a kickstand. And then flex your right foot and do a lateral leg lift. And you don't have to do much with your top arm. Just make it feel heavy on your thigh where the fingertips are touching. Now because we just got this totally activated and turned on in the outside hip, it should already be burning. So when you get to the top of the movement, hold. Make sure you're completely straight. And then you're going to hook your bottom ankle on top. Use your other hand to balance now, and keep lifting up towards the sky with your right hip, and slowly pull that leg down to the floor using the left ankle. You're going to hold it there, release, lift the leg back up, find that top position, hook the ankle again, keep lifting like you were trying to lift the bottom leg off the floor, and take it down to the ground nice and smooth. When you get to the bottom, hold that resistance and reach your right arm up. Feel it lengthen through the lat. And then unhook and move right into the third position. So this is called a crescent kick. You're going to open your chest up, facing the sky. If you can get your shoulder down, great. Bring the top leg, your right leg, across, and then with your left hand, just hook it on the thigh or the knee, wherever you can reach, and you're going to sweep up and across like Bruce Lee. Make it feel like you're just carrying the left arm along for the ride. You don't have to work too hard with the left arm. If you've done a good job, this outer hip should already be on fire, so we're going to stop at the top. The right hip should be on fire now. Keep pushing the leg, sweeping it like a crescent kick towards the right, and then now use your left hand and rotate the knee up towards the sky, pulling it across in that sweeping arc motion. The entire time, try and sit your right hip back against the resistance, and it should be really stretching the outside of the piriformis and hip. Repeat, let yourself wind back up to the top. Hang that weight onto the leg, and you can bring the other hand up to assist if you need, or hang it out to the side to give yourself better leverage. Should be on fire. Good. Last stretch for the glute. You're going to sit forward. This is called cradle the baby in yoga. You're going to hold one hand at the ankle, one arm around the knee if you can reach. If not, just hold at the knee. And you're going to pull the leg, externally rotate, and push into your hands. Once you have that position, you're going to roll back. Lift the opposite leg up, pull towards your chest, and then start to reach that leg down to the floor as far as you can get it. You don't want to pinch in the front of the groin, so you back the leg off if you need to. I'm going to show another variation. If you have more flexibility, you can sit forward, put the foot into the crook of your elbow, turn the palm out, other arm goes around the outside of your knee here, interlock the fingers, and sit up as tall as you can. Should be a huge stretch through the outside of the right hip. Lay back, leg comes up, and then reach it to the floor. Push as hard as you can, and then arch your head and chest back, bringing the leg with you. Should be on fire. When you're done, carefully unhook. Sit forward and shake out that glute. Good. Now we're going to go ahead and move and do the other leg right away. So you're going to just lay down. I would turn around so you can still see the TV or the computer. So now you're going to switch sides and make sure you can face the screen so you can see what I'm doing. So we're laying on our right side now. Left hand, remember, goes right at the outside of the knee. Use your other arm as a pillow if you need, and we're doing horizontal abduction again. So I'm going to walk you through the same sequence. Foot's flexed, lift up and out to the side, and make your left arm feel like it's welded to your torso so that you're resisting against your body weight as you push up and out to the side. So I'm moving a little bit quicker than I did on the other leg. You can move nice and slow, and it should burn right away. You actually should get a better burn on the second leg that you do. So we're going to hold at the top. I've already got a nice fatigue, nice burn on the outside hip. And I'm going to transition, so pause at the top and start to pour your body into the leg, overpowering the resistance and bringing the knee down to the floor. Once you get to the bottom, repeat. So give yourself resistance, let yourself win though, and then now overpower that resistance and bring the leg down. This is the second eccentric rep. Now the last rep, lift up, work hard, make yourself really work on this one. It should be on fire. Hold at the top, and then start to reach the foot. On this last rep, turn the knee slightly towards the sky, feel the outer hip, rotators turn on, and then move into the second position. Second position, we go hips extended. So from fetal position, all you do is straighten out both hips, bend the bottom leg slightly, top leg extended and foot flexed. So make like a kickstand with your fingertips, so come up on the points of the fingers, and then just do some side leg lifts. Even if you weren't using your fingers at all, it's mainly just to add a slight amount of resistance. You're not obviously going to have good leverage, but because we've pre-activated, that muscle should burn right away. Let's just do 2 more. It should already be cooked. Pause at the top. Now hook the bottom ankle on top and do your best and keep resisting up with the left ankle, pulling the leg down to the bottom with the right. Hold it at the bottom, keep tension on the side, then release, lift back up. Let's reset. Make sure your hips in alignment and that you've got a good burn. Hook on top, bring it all the way down. When in doubt, just keep resisting. Hold it at the bottom, and let's reach that left arm up, maintaining connection through the whole side of the body. Feel it attach into the lat. Get a little bit more length here. Unhook. We're going to go into the 3rd position. Shift so that your torso is facing straight up towards the ceiling. Flex the foot. Bottom arm, your right arm is going to create resistance and go ahead and sweep into that crescent kick. Should already be cooked, so I'm going to go ahead and keep resisting. You're trying to feel the outside of the left hip in piriformis. Now use your right arm and overpower that resistance, turning the hip out as it comes across. Should be incredibly intense. Let's do 1 more. Make sure you pause at the top, reconnect to that resistance, turn the knee out sooner, and then counterweight with your opposite arm. Might get some lumbar adjustments, that's absolutely fine. And then we're going to finish the glutes with cradle the baby. So again, start by grabbing the outside of the ankle, outside of the knee, reach your chest tall, and push the leg into your hands. Once you have that tension on, lay back, bring the other foot up, right foot up, and then reach it back to the ground, maintaining tension into your hands. You should feel the outside of the left glute tremendously. If you have the range with your arms, you can add a little bit of motion here, pushing and resetting. This is for strength. And then maintaining that pressure and pulling the leg towards your chest. Hold for a long isometric, and then I'm going to show the variation. So if you can't do this variation, just keep resisting isometrically and working the other position. So hook the foot into the crook of your elbow. Make sure the knee stays close to 90. Opposite arm reaches around. Interlock the fingers and bring the chest tall. Flatten your back as best you can. Lay back, the other leg comes up off the ground, and then drive that heel back to the floor, and then reach the chest back and bring the leg with you. Resist as hard as you can, as though your leg was going to try and break through the cage of your arms. Resist and hold, and you can add movement, pushing and pulling. Carefully unhook. Sit forward and shake out the legs. That's the glute. Now moving on, so we're going to switch sides again. You can probably stay where you're at as long as you can see the screen. I'm just going to switch so that the front leg to the camera is my left leg. So everyone grab hold underneath the thigh. Interlock your fingers, but make sure your leg can be at about 90 degrees, meaning you don't want it pulled in too close to you, otherwise your hip flexor is going to get in the way. So you want the knee at vertical, essentially. Then flex the left foot, and we're going to hook on top of the left ankle with the right. Now, to get really good leverage and not tweak the right knee at all, you want to bring your thigh in nice and close, and then bend your left knee. So the movement, I'll show you without creating resistance. The movement is just knee extension. So you're going to be kicking your left leg up and towards the ceiling like this. The right ankle is going to be your resistance. So with the knee in nice and tight, kick up and just make that right leg or right ankle feel heavy on the left. That's all you have to do, is let the left ankle carry the weight of the right. So that's 3 reps. It should start to fatigue dead center after 4 or 5 reps, maybe even sooner. Let's do 7 just to really make sure you guys have woken up the quad. So now, just like with the other muscle exercises, keep kicking at the top, and then we have to use our right ankle to overpower. So I'm pulling down with my right hamstring as I continue to kick up with my left. If you weren't sweating before, this one will absolutely break the seal. Keep kicking. This is the 2nd rep. We're going to do 3. Kick up. This is the last eccentric rep. Pull with your hands so that you have better leverage and overpower that resistance, driving the ankle down and towards your hip. Nice job. Now, without switching, I can show you from this angle. We're going to go ahead and go right into the other side. Interlock your fingers underneath your thigh. This is the right leg we're doing. Flex the right foot. Let me show you the movement. It's just knee extension, like this. So we're going to hook that left ankle on top, bring the knee in nice and tight. That gives us really good leverage. And then kick towards the sky, making the left ankle feel heavy on the right. Notice how I'm resetting to the bottom because this is about the strength phase. Concentrically kicking up with the right thigh. I'm already starting to feel a burn, but we're going to do 7 reps or so just for posterity. Let's actually do 1 more. I should have a huge fatigue on the front of this right thigh, and I'm going to kick, holding for the transition. Once I have that isometric hold, I move into the eccentric, using my left hamstring to overpower my right leg. Reset to the top. The harder I pull, the more leverage I'm going to have during the negative, that eccentric load. 3rd rep, last one. Kick as hard as you can, pull hard with your hands, and overpower that resistance. It should be on fire. Hold it at the bottom for a second, and relax. Good. Go ahead and sit forward. And we're going to get a knee pillow to do the hip flexor. I'm going to walk you through how to do muscle activation for the psoas. So once you've done both quads, we're going to move into the hip flexor. I'm going to emphasize how to do muscle activation. So you're going to need a knee pillow or something soft. And we're going to start with the left hip flexor psoas. So get to your 90-90 lunge. Front knee pretty much directly over the front foot, back hip over the back knee, and then you want to point your back toes so the top of your foot is on the ground. It's going to get the kneecap out of the way. Now, remember, you need to tuck your tail, which draws the psoas tight along the front of the hip. Fingertips go on the sacrum, and now we're going to exaggerate. Instead of working into splits or working on the fascia, we're going to actually teach you how to do concentric controlled movement with the psoas. So to lengthen the psoas, I'm going to lunge forward, keeping my tail tucked. The muscle lengthens as I come forward. And then I'm going to pull my knee into the ground and pull my body back to vertical. So I'm actually using the weight of my body and scissoring my front leg to create resistance as I pull backwards in space. So this is lengthened, concentrically pulling to shortened, just like a bicep curl. So when I'm forward, that's the muscle lengthened, and then as I pull back, it's like doing a curl, except for it's my hip flexor doing all that work. So let's repeat now that we understand the movement. Let's do 3, that's 1. Pull, generate as much resistance as you can. Feel that left hip do all the work and start to fatigue. 3rd one. Now we're going to hold. We only have to do 2 stretches here. Resist as hard as you can. Pull left knee down and forward, right heel back, belly button in, tuck the tail, and then keep resisting and start to go forward into that active eccentric load. Only as far forward as it stays in the front, and then pull back, last rep. Tuck the tail even more. Feel the abdominals contract, tuck harder. Maintain that pressure, and slowly lunge forward, even if it's just a couple of inches. That's all that you need. Perfect. Unhinge, loosen out the hip, and then switch knees. I'm going to stay facing the same direction so you can see it from the other side. So again, now it's right knee down, 90-90 lunge. Top of the foot on the floor, tuck the tail. So the lower back is going to go flat or even rounded. Hip flexors carrying the weight, scissoring. And now let's move forward into a lengthened position and start doing your strength movements. So that's like the bicep curl. Lengthened, pull, generating self-resistance through the ground. And repeat. Let's do 2 more. It's 1. Pull, you should really feel the hip flexor doing all the work on the right hip. Now let's just do 2 of those eccentric stretches. So tuck the tail, use the fingertips to help exaggerate. Keep scissoring forward. And then slowly overpower that resistance and lunge as far forward as you can. If you start to overarch, you're going to feel your lower back, so don't go that far. Pull back, last rep. Tuck the tail, push into the lumbar, overpower that resistance, and lunge forward into the stretch as far as possible. Perfect. Unhinge, and we're going to wrap up your muscle workout with the hamstring. So for the hamstring, we're going to need a slider, and you'll need to create a space where you can actually slide the foot out back and forth. And we're going to show you 2 movements to round out this workout. The final progression for the hamstring, you're going to use a slider. Remember, we can use a plastic plate with a towel on it. If you're sliding on carpet, if you're sliding on wood floor or tile, you can just use a towel and something soft so it doesn't hurt your heel. But in any case, we're going to go left leg first. Put the middle of your heel on your slider. I use furniture slides that work great. They're inexpensive. And then the movement, just so you can see, make sure that your heel has enough room to slide all the way as close as it'll get to your hip. And you're doing a knee curl. So where for quad we were doing knee extension, for hamstring we want to reverse that. And you're going to slide the heel, frictioning it across the floor. But to make it more difficult, you're going to hook your right ankle on top of the knee. Start with the leg slid out pretty much all the way straight. And then elbows on the ground and drag that heel through the floor, creating as much of a friction resistance as possible. So you're going to do 3 or 4 reps until you feel the middle of the muscle start to fatigue. Should be pretty close to the back of the knee, but not directly in the knee. Now, to add weight, imagine like you were going to push your elbows into the ground and lift your butt off the ground, but don't lift your butt off the ground. That'll make it it'll make it like you're lifting significantly more weight, but you don't actually have to lift up off the floor yet. The other way you can add weight is by pushing and resisting with your top leg. Make that top leg feel heavy at the knee. Now you should have a burn. I already do. So what we're going to do for the stretch, you bring the heel as close as possible in towards the hip. You're going to lift your hips up off the ground. This is a bridge. Use your elbows to help you. And then start to slide the leg away and carry as much weight in the hamstring as possible. So if you can bring your arms forward. It'll make it 10 times harder. Once you get there, slide it back. You can let your hips be on the ground. Then raise up again. Start to slide away. Controlled descent. That's that eccentric load for that hamstring. Let's do 2 more. Lift. Slide away. This will be 5 total eccentric reps, which is more than we've done on the other, but because the hamstring is so dense with fascia, it's okay. Lift up, last one. If you can, bring the arms up and forward. Control that weight on the descent. Nice. And then you're going to go from back lying before that muscle has a chance to recover. Put your slider out of the way. Grab your pillow for your right knee. So the left hammy should still be on fire, should still be activated. And you're going to go into a lunge position with your front leg slightly bent. And then all we do, where we've been tucking to do psoas, we're going to come tall, arch the low back, and you'll see when I arch, so here's tucked, the hamstring's loose when your tailbone's tucked, but when I arch my low back, watch the fingertips move back, and it lengthens the hamstring, putting that muscle in a perfect position to help with the movement. So to do the active muscle release, you're going to lengthen tall, fold slightly forward, and push the heel into the ground. When you push the heel down, force your chest back away from the leg. So fold forward, that's the lengthened position. Push into the ground and move the torso away. Your back foot can be however you need it to balance, so toes can curl under on this one. Let's do just one more. That muscle should already be on fire from what we already did. Now let's just do 3 active stretches. So I'm going to start in the chest tall position. It helps sometimes to think you're carrying a weight, like a 45-pound plate. Keep kicking the heel into the ground as though you were going to bend the knee a little more, but keep it at the same position and start to fold, reaching your chest forward. Go as far as you can keep your back flat, and then kick away. Hold. Let's do 2 more actually. Keep kicking. Sit your butt backwards to increase the length and the stretch, but keep resisting the whole time into the floor. Drive through, last one, really work. Push that heel into the ground. Reach the chest forward, keep the back flat, slightly arched even, and drive away. To change the head of the muscle, the head of the hamstring that you want to work, there's 2 ways to do it. You can externally rotate, turning the leg out. That's going to put lateral hamstring in line for the work. Or you can bring the leg out to the side, keeping your hips forward, bend the knee slightly, and just fold forward and feel medial hamstring along the inside of the thigh. So play around as you get comfortable and get more tolerance in the muscle to this activity. Change the angle by turning the leg so you can isolate the different heads of the hamstring. Okay, let's repeat. We're going to go back on our back and do the right leg, and that'll wrap our muscle workout. Okay, so we're back on the ground. Now the right heel is going to go in the middle of your slider. Left ankle goes on top of the knee, elbows on the floor. Slide all the way out, and then friction the heel through the floor towards you. Repeat. So I'm primarily focusing on concentric, working the heel towards me, creating weight by pushing my elbows into the ground, or pushing the top ankle into my knee. 6 to 10 reps should be enough. The hamstring can be finicky to feel. You don't want to feel the knee joint. You want to actually feel the belly of the muscle. Good. I'm going to do one more, really pushing into my elbows, not lifting my butt, but making it feel like I'm going to. And then I'm going to stop at the top position. I'm going to hip raise. Keep that resistance in the hamstring and slowly slide away. We're going to do 3 reps. Make the last 2 really hard. Or if you need to, if you don't have a burn yet, you're going to add 2 more reps and do 5 total. In fact, let's do 5. So this is 3. If you need to keep your elbows on the floor, that's fine. Here's 4. Should be really burning. Last one, 5th one. Lift. Controlled descent. Controlled eccentrics. Perfect. And then come on forward and grab your knee pillow. Once you're in position, make sure that you transition as quickly as possible, keeping the burn in that right hamstring. Slight bend in the front knee. Remember, chest comes tall, hips square, fold forward to lengthen the muscle, and then push your body away. And again, I like to pretend like I was holding a 45-pound plate so that it's obvious I'm trying to push my torso away from my thigh. Let's repeat just a couple more. It should already be on fire. Back toes on my left foot are curled to help me balance. And then I'm going to keep resisting, driving that heel down through the ground, overpowering my resistance to feel the hamstring work the whole time. When I get to the bottom, I'm going to press back through. Let's do 2 more. Keep pushing as hard as you can. Arch the back, sit the hips back. Keep resistance as you fold forward. And remember, if you start to round at your back, that's when you've hit your end range. So stop wherever you feel you can't keep your back flat anymore. Last one, push away. Hold that tension. Arch and reach forward. Last one, we're going to hold isometric at the bottom. Keep resisting. Push away and then turn the leg out. Lateral hamstring. Just feel what it feels like. You can add or switch out stretches based on what's tightest. And then medial hamstring, you step the leg out at 45. Hips stay squared forward. Sit the hips back and feel the weight load right into the medial hamstring. You're going to start to realize that once you have the muscle pre-activated, you can change the hip angle and search around for the area that's tightest, doing active eccentrics to repair the joint function. That's your muscle workout. We're going to work that. And like I said before, we're going to continue to add different variations, different workouts, and this program is going to evolve as our understanding of pelvic dysfunction evolves. So work it hard. This workout is 3 times per week. Try and mix it up. This is a lot like weight training. So the more time you give yourself to recover between these, the better. 1 to 2 days. So if you can space it out during your week that way, that's ideal. But in general, this is all about time in. So the heavier the dose, the more you can do the work, the more your body's going to change over the course of the 6-week program and beyond. So great job. Send us any questions, and we're going to move on and show you the mitigation workout and talk about some other principles in the following lessons.